Our gospel today comes from the Gospel of John, and there we read, Jesus said to his disciples, "As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. I have said these things to you so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I do not call you servants any longer, because the servant doesn't know what the master is doing. But I have called you friends, because I have made known to you everything that I have heard from my Father. You did not choose me, but I chose you, and I appointed you to go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, so that the Father will give you whatever you ask him in my name. I am giving you these commands so that you may love one another." Let us pray. O Lord, may your words only be spoken and your words only heard, and we do ask this all for your love's precious sake. Amen. Please be seated. Many of you know Trevor. Trevor is our youth minister here, and Trevor, I understand, it's his practice on Sunday mornings that he likes to catch up on a little correspondence. He likes to do a little email, and, well, sometimes he likes to write thank you notes.
Thank you for allowing me to use this time, all of your time, to catch up on some thank you notes. I'm definitely going to need some thank you note writing music. Do we have that?
Yeah, I think a little ambiance.
That's perfect.
That's
perfect.
nice.
These are some somber thank you notes.
Huh? Good.
Okay. So these are some thank you notes that are far overdue for my mom, but I like to think they apply to all our mothers, people who have acted like a mother.
Well, I'm interested to hear what you're thankful for.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, me too. Enjoy your movie. Me too. Or you too. What is it? Just going to take a sip of this water that's not here. Thank you, Mom, for carrying me from when I was 8 pounds, 10 ounces, until I could eat that weight in your cooking.
And you know, I've seen people just coming up to you and sort of like squeezing your arm like this. A lot of people seem to do that. I think maybe all those 8 pounds went, right? That's a pretty big arm.
That's solid tuna casserole is what that is.
Oh, man, yeah. That's a good mom move. Yeah, uh-huh.
Thank you for teaching me how to do the laundry and always being patient when I claim to forget how.
And is that why you wore the same shirt like 5 days in a row last week?
Is this that?
Well, no, I think you changed it for this morning. But
Oh. I think, yeah, the Tuesday shirt was on all the way through Friday.
Not that I noticed.
Thank you, Mom, for carrying me for 9 months physically and at least 2 decades financially.
We're trying to help with that a little bit. We're trying to help.
It's getting better.
Good. Glad to hear that.
I think my mom should write you a thank you note. Thank you, Mom, for singing me to sleep when I was little. Because I can't imagine how annoying it is to have Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star stuck in your head as a fully grown woman. My friend Jimmy doesn't actually put the cards into the envelopes either.
Oh, really?
I watched.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mom, for always reminding me to send thank you notes. I don't think I'm going to send this one.
How about giving that one to me?
Okay.
I'll just sign my name to it. Yeah.
A little too on the
Thank
nose.
you. Yeah, that works.
Thank you, Dad, for doing all of the Mother's Day prep year after year and then letting me sign my name on the card.
Your dad did that too?
Yeah. I'm 24. He handed me a card this morning.
Maybe I should call my daughters and just make sure that...
Yeah. Thank you, Mom, for pretending never to notice about that last one.
You know, this is the first time I've seen my brother smile playing music.
Really?
Yeah, it's yeah, this is good. We might need to do this more often.
Yeah. Write more thank you notes.
Yeah. I'll write him a thank you note after this.
Yeah, write him a thank you note.
Yeah, I think-
Is he going to be there while you write it?
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt Merola. Just cross that one out. My mom's name is not Matt Merola. Thank you, Mom, for looking up which movies were too scary for a 12-year-old online. And also for comforting me when I was scared because I'd convinced Dad that he didn't need to look them up. That's it.
All right. And to my brother, yeah, I think he needed to shave his head too for the full effect, but we couldn't quite get that. On a serious note, we really do want to say thank you to all our mothers, the women who gave us a birth, who looked after us, and to affirm that we believe motherhood is a high and holy calling, and that we're deeply appreciative for all those people who undertake that calling and sacrifice for it. And we also want to acknowledge those who may not be mothers by blood, but who nourish and care for other people who may not be their own, but who care for them like a mother would. And that's something that every woman can do. Trevor talked a little bit about why he's thankful for his mom. I'd like to tell you a little bit about why I'm thankful for my mom, and use that as a way to illustrate today's gospel. I think you see the two go hand in hand together very nicely. One possible title for this sermon is Why My Mother is Like God, and she is in a great many ways. And then we're going to show you a little video that it gives many of you an opportunity to say why you're thankful for your moms. So I'm thankful for my mom, believe it or not, because my mom laid down the law. My mom was not afraid to issue commandments. And the law, the commandments, made it clear that there were things that I could not do without dire consequences, and there were things that I must do no matter how much like child abuse they might have seemed to me at the time, like brushing my teeth or taking a bath. Now, I'm also thankful that my mom not only laid down the law, but she kept the list of things that I could not do and the list of things that I had to do very short. So, for instance, the list of things I could not do was a short one. It was things like, you cannot play in the street. But it did not include things like, you cannot bring any reptiles into the house. You cannot keep a snake for a pet. You see, that was not part of the law, according to my mom. And so I would bring snakes home and keep them in a little cage that my dad and I built together. And one year I brought home a garter snake, and that garter snake promptly escaped my homemade cage. It was not as secure as I had hoped it might have been. And that snake took up residence in our living room. And every afternoon, when everybody else was out of the house except my mother, the snake would come out and find a nice warm spot in the rug and sun itself. My mom did not care for that a whole lot, and so after a couple of months of that, she came by the school, got me out of school. I thought I was in a lot of trouble. I actually wasn't. I was just doing a rescue mission. I'm not sure who I was actually rescuing, but I went home, caught the snake, and then put it back in its cage where it lived the rest of the season happily ever after. Well, that's a good mom who doesn't forbid that sort of thing. And then the list of things I had to do was also very short because it kept the focus where the focus needed to be. And that list really pretty much just boiled down to, I had to brush my teeth, I had to take a bath, I had to go to church, and that really was on the list. There were no questions about that. I had to do my schoolwork, and I had to be polite. I had to be polite and respectful. And that was pretty much that whole list. And you may notice that the things that aren't on that list, I did not have to do a sport. I did not have to learn a musical interest or develop a talent or anything. I did not have to be involved in extracurricular activities. I didn't have to do any of those things that getting me to do some of those other things were enough of a battle. So there didn't need to be any battle around these other things. It was going to create a life that I hated and that my mother hated, carting me all over the place. And in doing that, what my mother did is she sort of became my champion. She refused to play me for social acceptance. She refused to play me so that she could, say, look at my son and all these things that he's done, She refused to play me to social convention, and what she did do is she let me discover what I really love, what I really enjoy. What she did do is she let me be me. And so what I found that I really loved was making maple syrup. It brought together two great loves in my life, food and the out of doors. It's not the kind of thing that a mother can really brag about. My son, he's the quarterback on the football team, or my son, which is great. If a kid loves that, I mean, that's exactly what a kid should do, right? My son, he got the best grades in school, and he's going to this and this. No, you can't really say my son, he makes maple syrup. See, not the kind of thing you can sort of brag about, but that was okay. She let me do that. And back in that day and age, they didn't have the internet, so I had to spend like hours and hours and hours and hours at the library. I'd walk up to the library, take out every book I could find. I had to figure out what sugar maples were in the spring when they don't have any leaves, and you can actually identify them by their bark. But nobody's telling me to do this. See, nobody's forcing me to do this. Nobody's saying you have to do this. That wasn't the way the law was. The law was such that I had to find what really lit up my own heart, and then pursue that. And I had the opportunity to do that. And I figured out how to get the sap out of those trees. I didn't have formal tapping equipment, and I had to figure out how to collect the sap. And so every day, nobody told me to do this. I wanted to do it. At 5 o'clock in the morning, I'd get up, strap a backpack on my back, hike a mile over to the woods by my house, and I had a 3-mile tap line of all these trees. I'd collect all that sap, put it in my backpack, bring that home, and then I'd do the same thing after school. I did it every day. Maple syrup, depending on the sugar content of the sap of the tree, takes about 40 to 50 gallons of sap to make 1 gallon of syrup. So that's a lot. And you probably know that they boil the syrup down in out structures, in rooms that are not connected to the house, and it turns out there's a reason for that. So after collecting about 30 or 40 gallons of sap, which I would store in these containers down in my garage, I decided to start boiling it down. Went up in the kitchen, took my mom's best pots, and just started pouring syrup, and just started boiling. And the thing that happens, it takes forever for it to get thick, and then if you look away, it burns. And it sticks to the bottom of the pot, and it kind of makes a huge mess. And so then I would start all over again, and then after burning several of these, I finally got to the point where I paid enough attention that I maybe, out of 50, 60 gallons of syrup, all this work, I maybe got like a pint of maple syrup. And then because at that point, I'd always eaten Mrs. Butterworth's or Aunt Jemima's or whatever. I didn't even like maple syrup. I thought, this stuff is terrible. So I gave my little pint of syrup to my 8th grade English teacher who I had a crush on and thought maybe that she would be impressed by that. I have no idea. But then, about 3 days after that, and this was a split-level house in Pittsburgh, and it had white walls just like this, and some areas those walls were kind of high because of split level. About 3 days after that, all that sap, the 40 or 50 gallons of sap that I'd boiled up into the air, just began to condense all over the walls of the house. And this sticky, sort of gross brown stuff just began to, so think about that. My son, he plays football. My son, he's a scholar. My son, he's involved. My son, he just messed the whole house up. And there's she was kind of stuck with this sort of weird kid. Pardon me? Nice one. Yeah. Stuck, you got that. Yeah, very good, And so, when my mom laid down the law, the beautiful thing about that is that law was mercifully short. And that kept her from forcing me into a life I didn't like, she didn't like, and let me find who I really am, what I really love. And I am so grateful for that, because that has served me so very, very well. But here's the thing. When my mom laid down the law about some of these things, like brushing my teeth, taking a bath, I didn't understand that that was in my best interest. So a lot of times that just seemed mean. A lot of times it just seemed cruel. A lot of times that seemed unreasonable. Sometimes it just seemed like my mom liked being more powerful than I was, just making me do things. I think she just likes being bigger than I am. And I didn't get that. And so many times growing up, my mom and I were on different pages. And here's what I'm thankful about that. When my mother and I were on different pages, she always chose being a parent over being a friend. She always chose being a parent over being a friend. And because she did that, I came to the point in life where I began to understand that the law she laid down, the command she laid down, weren't mean, cruel, unfair, about control, but they were in my best interest. She was teaching me life lessons. She was teaching me lessons about how to live a productive and satisfying life. And when I learned those lessons, I began to understand what she was doing. And now I do those things. I take a bath once a week, whether I need it or not. Not because my mother said I have to, but because I want to. So I came to see the world like she sees the world. And when I came to see the world like she sees the world, she didn't have to keep being my parent, in a sense, but she could then become my friend. Because I had learned the life lessons that she had taught for me, it made a friendship possible, the beautiful friendship that we enjoy now. Of course, she's still my mother. Of course, she's still my parent. She always will be. But now, my mother is also my friend. And that's only possible because she was willing to be a parent first and make sure that I learned the things that I need to learn, because that was her job. And it strikes me that that's exactly what's being talked about in today's gospel. And it's an incredible gospel if you stop and think about it, even for a moment. But that gospel is teaching us that God would rather befriend us than control us. That's pretty incredible if you really think about it. God would rather befriend us. God would rather be our friend than we regard him as some distant, all-powerful deity who controls everybody and everything. No, God would rather be our friend. And yes, God has given us laws. Yes, God has given us commandments. And sometimes those laws seem unfair. Sometimes they seem unjust. Sometimes they seem just cruel. But when we look at them at work in the life of Jesus, we see what the law is really about. It was really about God trying to fill the world with love. And whether people believe Jesus was the Son of God, whether people believe Jesus was the Son of God or not, when people look at his life and they see those commandments, they see those laws at work, everybody says, now that's a life well lived. That's the kind of life that changes the world, that makes the world, leaves the world better than we found it. That's the kind of life I want to live. And so now we keep those commandments, we keep those laws, not just because God said so, not just because the Bible says so, not just because of this or that, but because we understand what God's doing. He's filling the world with love, and we say, God, I want to participate with you. I want to join with you. I want to join with Jesus. What Jesus started, I want to keep on going. Not because I have to, but because I want to. And what we realize is that God has been up in heaven all along, just wanting to be our friend, reaching out his hand. In that moment when we say, God, I'm not going to do this because I have to, because I want to, we realize his hands reach out and we put our hand in his. And friends, like friends, we do the work that he's giving us to do, filling this world with his love. And nobody does a better job of that than a mother. And so you've heard Trevor say why he was thankful for his mom. I've had a chance to tell you a little bit about why I'm thankful for my mom. Now we're going to hear from some of you why you're thankful for your moms.
Hi, Mom! I love you, Mom! Happy Mother's Day!
Happy Mother's Day!
Happy Mother's Day. I love you, Mother.
I love my mom because she's nice.
Thanks, Mom, for letting me do all the awesome things and all the awesome opportunities.
Mom, you are so thoughtful. You always do things for us.
Thank you for supporting me. I love you. Happy Mother's Day.
Thanks, Mom, for not going through with the convent, because if not, then I wouldn't be here. So, thank you.
I love my mom because all my life she's been teaching me how to be a better person.
I love my mom because she supports me in Boston and with all my goals.
I love my mom because she understands my craziness. Mom, I love you so much.
I love my mom because
I love my mom because
She
And
I love your muffins.
well, she got me this shirt and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, my mom, has helped me understand God better in the way that, God just loves people unconditionally no matter what and just always wants to be giving to them.
Just the love and support that she continues to show just makes everything so much easier as I try to slot into my new life. So, happy Mother's Day!
My mom is great because she has such a resilient spirit.
Even though we joke that Madison may be her favorite, I know she loves me and I love her.
She's just very, very nice to me.
She always snuggles with me a lot of times, and that's all.
Thank you for being my coach in my cheer games and actually showing up.
I love my mom because she is patient.
I know I probably don't say it enough, but you are one of the bravest, strongest people I know, and I'm still blessed to have had you as an influence in my life.
Our mom are very nice. Dad, my cheeseburgers.
Mom, thanks for always watching out for me. Happy Mother's Day.
To my mom, who can outcook me, outbike me, and has raised me for so many years, I love you. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you for everything you've done to me. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day!
Happy Mother's Day. You're the best cook in the world.
I love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom, from Boston.
I just want to say Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Hope it's a great one.
Happy Mother's Day, Madre!
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. You're the best cook in the world.
Happy Mother's Day, Grandma.
I've just never met anyone who gives like my mom, and I can't help but think that God loves that way, like a mother. I love you, Mom. See, I'm getting all emotional because I love you and miss you so much. Happy Mother's Day!
What?
Happy Mother's Day.
Great.
Translation, Happy Mother's Day!